So, welcome back to the show, Christian, as I never call you, and
No.
yeah, welcome, Stan. And Jay,
Cheers.
you haven't been on before, have you?
No.
Oh well, welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here, boys. Thanks for making the time, because I appreciate that your time is probably in high demand right now. So let's go back, rather than like dive straight in. Let's go back to lockdown, and whose idea was it first to go, should we write an album whilst we're got nothing to do?
It's always my idea because I do everything. So
oh, he's putting that right out there.
Yeah. Just literally, probably the same as everyone else. I mean, it was just one of them where it was like, what else are we going to do? We can't do gigs, we can't rehearse. So, you know, I've got the technology at home, the bits and bats, the Easy Drummer, and you know, the guitar plugins and stuff. So it's like, well, let's start writing some stuff. So that's just how it started, really. And then just sending demos to Jay and to Dennis and Shizy, you know. And I mean, even though we're old, we try and embrace technology when we can, Howard, you know.
Well, lockdown forced us all into whether we liked it or not. So
Exactly.
Yeah. But I absolutely take your point. I mean, you know, we were in a position where we had one member saying what you're saying, and everyone else, and the rest of us going, no. So what was your answer, Jay? Was it no? Was it yes? Was it oh yeah, whatever?
I was going along with it. Everything coming through. It's all good.
Yeah. Cool. Just like, yeah, keep chucking it out. So did you overwrite? Did you sort of settle on a group of songs very early? How did it sort of come together?
There was only a couple songs that we didn't use that we were working on. I think we worked on them until we were happy with them. There's only a couple that we shelved that weren't quite.
We very rarely overwrite. It's not a thing that we do.
Yeah.
It's mainly just a thing where we'll just carry on. You know, we'll just carry on till it's finished, really.
Well, now you mention it, yeah. I mean, the concept of overwriting is completely foreign to me as well, especially when you put so much into every song. It's like, well, I'm not going to work on something if like, you know, you think, hang on, this isn't up to scratch. This isn't good. It's like, no. You know?
If it's not going to be one to consider using, it's binned pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, quality not quantity, isn't it? It always does my head in when I hear bands saying like, oh yeah, you know, we wrote 18 songs, 22 songs, you know, and we picked the best 10 or whatever. I just think like, I just don't know how you do that.
No, that's not the way to do it, is it?
Mad, absolute madness.
Yes.
So when you've like kind of started filing it down and getting it down, how did you? So were you, Stan? Were you pinging like music around, and Jay, you're starting to work on the vocals and just initially just sort of knocking demos together and, you know, seeing how each song comes together?
Yeah, I was putting lyrics together, putting vocal patterns on demos, sending them back up to Stan. Stan was saying, I don't like this bit, I like this bit, work on that, change this, let's have a go at this. And we just kept doing that back and forward for a few months, and then till we're both happy with what was there. And yeah.
We actually we used some of the well, I can still see you. That's weird.
Me?
Yeah, I can still see you. You're like overriding everything.
Right.
You got lead singer syndrome.
That might be the setting on your I might be setting on your views. That's all.
It might be, okay. Yeah, I thought it was like switching. It wasn't letting me switch back. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So we actually used, you know, there's like a chain of studio and rehearsal places. You may have used them, like pirate places.
Right. Yeah.
So there's one in Birmingham, and that's like halfway for me and Jay. So when when they were opening again, we'd meet up there, and then he'd record. I'd bring up my sort of system, and we'd actually demo vocals together, so we could actually like do actual recordings and say no, yes, no, and move that and all that crap. So that was quite good because it became like something that we could actually sort of almost like a real studio. I mean, those we ended up using those places to actually record the actual vocals as well. We didn't go into like a proper studio.
Yeah.
We've just got our own kit. We just went there, and it was just we used those. Those are the tracks that we gave to Andy.
Yeah. And you're paying rehearsal room rates, not studio rates.
Yeah. So we get that place for like 12 hours, and just use like 6 or 8 hours of it, and just go down there and spend the day. So it's a good place. I mean, they come with like some monitors. You just need to take a computer, a microphone, and headphones and all that rubbish. We took our own microphone and bits and bats, but essentially we used a lot of what was in there, really. I mean, it's not like we're doing like operatic vocals where you need like some big like, ambient chamber room or anything. It's just like shouty, so you just put the microphone in the vocal booth and off you pop.
That's a real shame, because I've heard Jay's opera voice, and I think what he does, what he does, whilst I like what he does with Xentrix, I much prefer his work in opera.
yes, there you go.
I'm talking shit, obviously. Yeah. What else is new? That's what you knew you were going to be doing for the next fucking hour. So anyway,
there'll be no Rene or Renato covers, I'm sure.
well, that's all the kind of like the boring mechanics out of the way. You've got the album recorded. It's out. It's going down. I would say it's weird. You're one album ahead of us in the like putting new albums out. So it's interesting to kind of watch and observe from the sidelines. And I always think your first album back after X amount of years, like people take that into account. It's and the fact that it's the first album back. There's a weird sort of almost kind of like a grace period where sometimes you feel like you get reviews where people are being, I don't know, I felt overly kind, where it's just like, it's great to have them back kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Which I always think is quite damning, especially as your first album. It's great to have them back. And it's kind of like damned by faint praise. But the
Forgiving.
But the stuff, the reviews that I've read for the new album are just phenomenal. I mean, people are really, really impressed with this.
I much prefer this album, personally.
Jay, that does not surprise me in the least, bearing in mind like how you came to the first album and like you were there right from the beginning of the second. So does this feel a bit like your first album, Jay?
Yeah. Well, the last one felt like I was trying to do something I wasn't used to doing. Just jumping in and sticking vocals on. Or vocals to start with was the thing. I was just happy with the first one to have vocals sounding okay with it, and being okay. And
because it's your first attempt at actually singing well, not ever, but like for a long time. So you diving straight in, and obviously
as a vocalist myself, I can imagine the difference in these recording of these albums. In the first one, it's very much a case of you doing a take and turning around to whoever you're working with and going, like is that a pass or not? Whereas now recording this one, like when you've nailed it, and you're like, we've got that.
We
can move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think with the last one, you knew yourself when you'd got. I'm talking to Jay now. You knew yourself when you got. when you'd got it down, it just with this one, it just seemed to be there were more your words, so it was like you knew more of like how they were going to go together, and it was me that was going like, "Are you sure there should be that many syllables in there?"
Oh man, that's so. I get the same thing. You're trying to get too many words in, you're trying to get too many syllables in, and it's like, well, it's what I wrote, so let's stay here till midnight. But yeah, no, I can well appreciate the difference. And what you were saying there, Stan, about understanding the meaning as well. Like, obviously when it's coming from you, it's very, very different. And that must have been a challenge, let's say, because you had to get over the vocal challenge and the challenge of coming in something that was quite a long way towards being finished.
Yeah, well, it was finished.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I listened to it. That's a great point. That's a great point. Yes.
It was finished. I'd listened to it. I'd heard it. I'd had it for about 6 months before it was going to be like to the point, because I'd got a sneaky copy of it from someone, but and that was before I was even doing vocals in Xentrix. We were still auditioning for possible singers and people at the time, and I'd heard it for quite a long period of time before I was even doing the vocals in the band. So then, yeah.
Are you sinking? Looks like you're sinking. Your chin's getting really close to it. Like you're like down there.
Is that me? Who, me?
Yeah.
Apologies.
Let me try a different background.
Slouching.
Apologies to podcast listeners. This is on the Zoom. You can go and see it on the YouTube channel if you want to nip over there. But now, obviously, the new album's out, and I've seen going back to the reviews that we were talking about. Everyone's picking up on the vocals, and everybody is saying like,
good.
"Wow, this is like, this is a quality job."
Good.
Well, it's like any aspect of any band, isn't it? You put the work in, you get the reward.
Yeah. We
I think as well.
Hours in, didn't we?
Well, yeah, definitely. But I think that the difference with this one is you'd already made that transition from, you were now like the Chris Astley's replacement. Now you're standing on your own 2 feet. So this is the first album where this is like this is the lineup. We started from scratch with this album. Mm-hmm. This is like Xentrix Mark, whatever. So I think that made a big difference to, the difference from Bury the Pain was like this, they're back together after so many years, they've actually done an album. Yeah. And then this time it's like you said before, this is your second album. This is like, they've actually managed to do another one. Right. Okay. Which is like, I mean, it's surprising. I mean, I'm quite surprised that, we kind of shoehorned the 7 in there by saying it was our 7th release, but I mean it's not a 7th album because we did like an EP. So, but it counts. It counts. It came out. It had songs on it. It was probably about the same length as Rain in Blood. So it'll do.
that counts.
Yeah, it counts to me. So yeah, but it still amazes me that we've managed to make this many. We're trying to count it. I've not actually done it yet, but it was like, shit, how many songs have we actually written? How many songs actually are there now? It was like, shit, there must be like 60 odd or something. I'm gonna have to like count them up. I'm not been asked to do it yet, but like it's like it is, it is amazing, it's like we're here, it still amazes me that we're still doing it, like at our age. Yeah. I don't know.
By the way, there'll be someone on the internet who will have already done this for you, because it's the internet, isn't it? There'll be somebody will have added up how many songs that you've put out, and but I know what you mean. It's incredible. I mean, I've spent over 20 years doing stand-up comedy, still do, and all anybody wants to talk to me about is a band I formed when I was 15. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, great, okay. I mean, fine, yeah. But that's just the way it is. And you know, the way obviously being in a band changes as well. I mean, unfortunately, Jay, you're not going to be part of the upcoming tour, which
No.
you know, you must be gutted about. I mean, obviously it's the right move, but
Yeah,
you still get to be gutted about it.
of course. Yeah. Violence is one of my like bands from the day as well. So
Oh yeah.
would have been a perfect thing, but it's the right thing to do.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. Family comes first, obviously.
Mm.
And Chris comes back for a tour. That's
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that how
I think
bizarre is that for everybody?
I think it's quite fitting that it's the Headbangers Ball tour, and so it's fitting that it's he's there from the early days of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like it's the best option we could have without cancelling, really. You know, we didn't want to cancel anything after all this sort of COVID cancels and all that, and everything getting dropped left, right, and centre. So I think it was actually Jay who suggested, Chris, why don't you give him a shout? And we were all going, he'll just say no. He'll just say no.
Was that a
like
case of
Zamo.
like, was that a case of like nobody wanted to say it? Like Jay is the only person who can suggest this.
Yeah.
Do you know,
Like,
if anybody
yeah.
else suggests it, you may get a kick in.
Well, that's it. You know, it's like he was just the only person that sort of like, you know, why didn't you ask him? Like, no, as if, because we know him quite well. So I thought, well, he might do one or two, but he wouldn't do the full stint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, he was well up for it. Which, you know,
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I've now got this image of Jay saying, "Why don't you why don't you give Ashley a call?" Like Dennis is over the other side of the room on the phone going, "All right, Chris."
pretty much what happened actually.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I actually went to the meeting in the pub and just had a chat with him, and he was just like, yeah, you know, yeah, I'll do it. His only thing was he's nervous, you know, because he's a robot, he's a cyborg, he's a perfectionist, so he's a one or a zero. He's either doing it or he's not. So
yeah,
I mean, he's even told me that that this is it, and then like he's not doing anything after this.
Yeah,
like literally, you know, because he borrowed a guitar. He's borrowed a guitar off me, and I think Shizy said, "Oh, you're not getting that guitar back, Stan," and he just went, "No, you will. In 5 weeks' time, you can have it back, and I won't touch it again." And that'll be him. You know, he's just going to do this, and then he's done. But you know, it's good that he did step in, and you know, because it's definitely the second best option for us to have Chris singing at these gigs.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want Jay because like I said, the thing with Astley is he's a perfectionist, and we suggested, well, will you learn some new stuff? And he's like, I'm going to struggle learning the stuff that I actually already supposedly know.
Yeah. He's got a very good point there, hasn't he?
So we were like, okay, well, you know, and at this point, we didn't even know how long we had to do. We thought we'd be like 45 minutes, and then they told us it's like 55, and we're like, right, okay, we got that. Right, okay. So, you know, he's just got about enough organic RAM left, I think, to sort of just get through those gigs. We'd definitely overload it if we were trying to throw in some new stuff for him to learn.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's a perfectionist, so he'd need a year to try and learn if he was going to do it.
Well, speaking of being a perfectionist, I couldn't help but admire and this is classic, typical of the music business. I couldn't help but admire the great timing that you're going to go on tour. The new album comes out just before you go on tour. This is the way you spend like months of planning and all the rest of it.
That's exactly what I said to them. Basically, this tour needs to happen because it's straight off the back of the album release. It will be, and this has to happen. Even though I'm not there, it has to happen.
Yeah.
For everything to.
Yeah, but I think what I would say is it's typical that it's happening, but it's not happening where we're going to be playing new stuff. And I know people are going to say to us, you know, why aren't you playing anything off this album? It's like, well, because we can't really with this lineup.
You've just basically you reply to that question. It's got like, it's him.
Yeah,
That's
him
why.
over there.
Yeah.
But as far as he's concerned, he's stepping in and saving the day. So it's like, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it'll still be good. We had a rehearsal with him about 2 months ago, and it was just back there straight away. No problem. We could have done a gig that afternoon. You know what I mean? He's
right.
He's there. He's just plugged in and he's right. He just had to remember what the words go like. That was all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
which he's still got the first lines written down. But so have you, haven't you, Jay? It's like, we need those teleprompters. Everyone's like slagging off Ozzy in the day, but they're a brilliant thing.
Mm.
Just a little hint, just a little hint.
Takes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Once I get started, it's downhill from there. No problem. Like yeah. There's nothing worse than that horrible feeling than being stood on stage and knowing that like there is a bit coming up, and
that's it. When you're coming out of a solo section or something and they're playing away on they've got the guitar rolling and it's just like, you're just coming out. It's just, if you have that mind blank of what's the first line of this next verse or chorus, like you can just go over, have a quick glance, and you're away again.
Yeah, what I do is I hold the mic up to my mouth, and 99 times out of 100, the right word comes out.
It's not to think about it, really, isn't it? It's like,
that's what fucks me up. Yeah, the minute you start thinking about it, you're right.
Yeah.
Whenever it's same with riffs or anything, as soon as you start thinking, what's the next riff, you're knackered because your mind just panics and you just shut down. So it's better to just let the muscle memory take over and just let it rip. And if you do fuck up, then fuck up. But
your mind is there just to fuck you up, isn't it? I mean, it's like you know everything. You've done it 100 times and all the rest of it. It's only your mind going, "Ooh, do you know what comes next?"
Wouldn't it be bad if you fucked it up?
Yeah, wouldn't it be bad?
Yeah. Are you going to fuck this bit up like you did last night? Nobody noticed, but they will tonight.
Yeah.
I've been stood on stage singing the last verse of Motherly Love and had the entire band stood around looking at me, and I'm thinking, is there some, I don't know, I've got something on my face or something like that. And it gets to a part in the last verse where there's a stop, and it's just the vocals saying yes, yes, yes. And it got to the stop, and I'm just singing some completely different words. And it wasn't until that happened that I was like, oh shit. I was just in another, I thought I was absolutely bang on and I was in on the joke. I didn't realize I was the fucking punchline. It's just one of those things, just one of those things, just like sent to try you. But one thing you're not going to miss, Jay, is a shitload of men living on a bus for weeks.
I'll miss the drinks and the on travel. I will.
Yeah.
I've well, I enjoy being on buses. I do.
Yeah,
I enjoy being.
This is going to be like our first time for a long time. It's going to be our first time for a long time being on a bus. So we're like,
that's, I can't tell if that, right. Okay, so for listeners, Jay has again updated his background. Now I don't know if it's his background or if it's actually a room in his house. I don't know if that's.
It's got Swiss suite. Oh no, it's a Napoleon. That.
Yeah.
No, it's not Napoleon. Who is it?
It is.
It's not.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Is it? By the way, is that a background or is it your house?
Huh? This is a background. It's a good one, though, isn't it?
Big fan of Napoleon, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you've got to put together the common tying factor of the backgrounds, Howard.
Oh,
right, so.
Smugglers.
Nelson.
No. But we'll keep moving.
Oh, right. Okay. So anyway, listeners, there's a picture of Napoleon in the background, and yeah, apparently that is a background, not a room.
It's a good background though.
It's not your Napoleon room. It's not
No,
your
no.
war. Yeah, it's not your war chamber.
Yeah. So Buzz Life's going to be amusing, really. It's going to be
Yeah.
like you say, a lot of 50-odd-year-old men. I mean, we're sharing a buzz with a band. We don't know which one yet. I think it's 2 buzzes, 2 bands per buzz. You know.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining, and then
it is. Yes.
yeah,
I could. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. Because I don't want to mention it yet because it's not officially out. But that place I told you we're going, that part of the world, it's like we've had a skeleton agreement, and it's like too good to be true. But it involves full payment before we leave, so they're either having a laugh or we're definitely going. And that has gone from excitement to, oh, right, okay, how many shows is that in how many days, in what kind of temperatures? Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it's weird. When you're younger, you're just excited, and as you get older, you're excited and apprehensive.
yeah, apprehensive, is it? Sorry?
Is it South America?
Yeah, I'll edit that bit out. Yeah.
Well,
So yeah,
it's going to be entertaining, getting us getting it all together on the. I mean, it's been over 30 years since we've done it, so you know it's going to be an eye opener. I went and did about 4 dates with Accept it's probably about 8 years ago, doing some video work, and even that was like the novelty of the buzz soon wears off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
like, yeah,
right. And that was a nice buzz.
Yeah, but by the same token, you haven't got the payment, because the payment for being in a band is 23 hours of bullshit and 1 hour of utter joy, and that makes up for a lot.
It should do. Let's hope so.
There's that apprehension I was referring to.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's good. It's because of the way everything is at the minute, financially, with all bands, you know. I mean, even like, you know, with Anthrax cancelling because they couldn't afford to do European tours.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Because the cost of buses and fuel has just gone up. So this is a real sort of skeleton tour. There's a tour manager, a production guy, and a merch guy, and they basically said to the bands, you know, we'd like you all to sort of muck in and help each other, and you know, it's shared back line.
Oh,
you know,
God,
so it's because we're all sort of flying to the first gig and then going around on the bus, so we can't take all our own stuff. So we've got to, like, you know, take what we can, guitars and stuff, and take Kempers and things like that. But you know, Dennis can't take his drum kit, and he can't take his cymbals and things like that. So you know, we're going to be sort of down to the bare bones, but that's cool. We're used to that. And but there's going to be an element of, like, you know, we're going to be the guys that are going to be like lifting the 412s in and out every night, as well as doing the gigs. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's going to be hard work for 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's one of those where you just hope you've got some good house crew, and if not, you just want to grab some.
I mean,
you would want to grab some people who've been like hanging around and go, "Oi,
yeah,
lift that."
You want to play?
Yeah, you want to play? You cheap bastard!
Yeah. Pay with my plastic.
Well, that's all we'll have.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to help?
Not giving away shirts.
Yeah. Climb all the. Oh yeah. Oh fuck no. God no. Cardinal sin.
No.
Can't give away shirts. Not at all. No.
No.
Not unless they're to customs officials.
Exactly. Yeah. Not to get you over a border, but
yeah, the best people to give shirts to.
We'll see, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it went. And
are you going to be playing? Are you going to be playing countries that you've not been to before?
Yes. I mean, we've never been to Sweden. We've never
Right.
been to Denmark.
Right.
Where else have we never been to on this? I think that might be it actually. We
Right.
play it's Germany. Oh, we have played Switzerland. So it's Germany, Switzerland, Czech, Belgium, and Netherlands. I think that's it. But the it's predominantly Germany because it's like we go into Germany and out of Germany. You know, like, I think there's about 4 or 5 dates in Germany.
Well, and also, metal's massive in Germany, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've never been to any further north than sort of northern Hamburg, so it's quite exciting for us. It's going to be a bit chilly in November, December.
True.
We're from the north, so we'll bring our big coats.
Absolutely, yeah. But your big coats and your thrifty attitudes.
Exactly. We'll need that. I said we're from the north. We're not from Yorkshire.
Yeah. Oh, harsh.
Ooh.
That is harsh. Yeah, we've got bloody hell, can't believe. Yeah, we've got Yorkshire and Lancashire on the same, and Jay in as referee. That's very good of you to turn up and referee for us, Jay. Thank you.
Good.
So any plans for the UK?
Not yet.
Next Friday.
Oh, true. Yeah, we're playing in Cardiff on Friday.
Oh, right, there you go.
But that's with Jay.
Yeah, I'm doing that one.
Good.
So unless Louise goes into Labour,
yeah,
and then making a dart for it across the bridge.
Yeah.
You've jinxed it.
No, don't jinx it.
Yeah.
I need to do this gig. So, yeah, I'm going to be there. Then in March, isn't it? The next stuff for UK. We're going to be in Ireland. We've got 2 over there, which is the rescheduled Dublin show with a Limerick.
We couldn't get in the van gigs.
Oh,
yeah,
it's a nightmare, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're not allowed out the house gigs.
Yeah.
That was horrendous. That gig. I've told you about that. I've not, Howard.
No, what?
In Ireland, when we went to Dublin in March. Was it March? March or May?
March, I think.
And we had a gig in Belfast and a gig in Dublin. The Dublin was first, and we hired a splitter, which was fine one day. And then when we got to Belfast, to Dublin, we couldn't get the back doors open.
It was to Glasgow first, wasn't it? Glasgow on the ferry. That was it. That's when we discovered they wouldn't open.
Yeah, they wouldn't open, and we were like, oh. So we called out the Irish RAC, and they came and met us at the gigs and spent 4 hours trying to get into the thing and couldn't get in. And we eventually tried to force it open on this splitter with we had guys with drills and pickaxes and couldn't get in. And it was like 6:30, so we had to cancel the gig. We just had to pull it. It was like, it's horrendous. I mean, going all that way and having everything in there, and you just couldn't play it. We even contemplated using the support band's gear, but they were sort of banking on using most of ours.
Shit.
So it was like, it's not going to happen. So we got to Belfast the next day and found this absolutely ace locksmith. It was brilliant. And we went to his house, and it turned out his brother had just died, but he used to drive his brother around. His brother played in a band, and the guy next door who kind of helped him out to get in the place played in some Rory Gallagher tribute acts. Everybody was like, it was like the stars aligned when we got to Belfast. It was brilliant. We got the doors open,
Yeah.
But that Dublin, it was a Friday afternoon. Got to 5:00, and we were phoning around trying to find locksmiths, but we couldn't get one. We were middle of Temple Bar, and we couldn't get a locksmith to come to us
on a Friday.
The RAC couldn't get one either. It was like
unbelievable.
Friday afternoon, wasn't it? Everyone was decided they were just clocking off for the weekend, weren't they?
Yeah. They was.
So we've got to go back.
Yeah.
So we're going back in March.
The thing is, you hear loads of stories about bands turning to get into the hotel car park and overnight the van's been busted open and everything's gone.
Get in this out.
Yeah, where are these people when you need them?
Exactly. Yeah, if you want a secure van, buy a Nissan. It was just we couldn't get in it.
No.
Do you remember the guys when we played with you? We played. It was there was a big tall biker guy called John.
Yeah.
Big tall guy with a beard.
Yes.
And he had a pickaxe, and there was three of them trying to force the door open. And you would swear, because we managed to get the top bit open, and you would swear we'd get in it. And everyone was laughing and joking, saying, "Oh, you're in the right place if you want to get somewhere to break into a van."
Yeah. The last 3 hours, I was convinced we'd be in it, but it just wouldn't go.
But you would though, wouldn't you? You look at it and you just think, "Oh, can't get." Oh well, we'll just get in it. We'll just pry the doors. Job done.
Well, we could get in it through, because we managed to make contact underneath the back crew seats, like underneath the bulkhead, like the that was splitting the gear. We managed to make contact, but you can't get a bass drum and an amplifier and stuff out through that gap. It's just
and
it was wall to wall. Behind that was wall to wall up until the back door locks, so you couldn't get through it. There was no way through. It was such a decent pack.
You pack a van solid, you know what I mean? You make every space count in that van. So we packed it really well. So there was no way you were getting underneath to get to it. But there you go. So we got to go back, and it'll be fun anyway. So it's good to go.
Nightmare. I mean, we did that tour you saw us on when we toured as a 4-piece. We broke down on that tour. And we were on the M6 toll, and I said, like, oh, it's last services on the M6. There's only one services on the M6 toll. Let's pull off there and like
you must
have
have been
a regroup.
doing all right then on the M6 toll.
Oh yeah, we're rolling in it, mate. Yeah. Bloody hell! I thought I was the Yorkshireman. So we pull off, and as we're coming down the hill towards the services, we just hear this squeaking. And then you hit the roundabout. As we start going roundabout, engine starts smoking. And then we're not even going to make it to the car park. So we pull into the petrol station, and we look underneath, and it's like, it's fucked, basically. One of our merch guy is also a driver himself, and he looked under it and he was like, yeah, that's whatever it was, but it's fucked. You're not going anywhere. And the thing is, it had been making a noise ever since we got in the fucking thing. And we'd all been saying, that noise. And he was, no, not a problem. Don't worry. I had it all checked. Okay. And so we stood there like, what the fuck? We've got to get to Wrexham, of all places. We're on the M6. What do we do? So everyone gets on the phones, just contacting everybody they can, all the rest of it. And an hour and a half later, we're back on the road in a 9-month-old tour bus, which we wouldn't normally be able to afford, but because he was doing nothing for the next 3 days, we were laughing. I mean, it cost us an arm and a leg. There goes the profit of the entire tour, like, because we've got to make the switch. But fucking hell, what a relief! Because the thing is, it could have been okay. We had various options that would get us as far as Wrexham, but we had Blackpool after Wrexham.
Den would have come and got you.
Yeah, Den has sorted it out.
Oh well, you must give me his number for next time we're shafted in that part of the country.
Definitely,
I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
When we did, we owned our own splitter for a while that we bought for £800 off this band in Blackpool, right. And but I mean, we got our money's worth out of it because we went to Belgium in it. We did a load of gigs and we went as far as Belgium. But when we landed, I think we were doing the Overkill dates, and we landed off the ferry, and you should have heard the noise that was coming from the bottom of that. It was like
death rattle.
Anyway,
death rattle.
Dennis fixed it with some grease and some Jubilee clips. It was like, like, how he did it, I don't know, but he fixed it, and he got us to the gig and got us home. So.
That sounds like a genuine old school joke punchline, and he fixed it with some grease and a couple of Jubilee clips. Anyway, take my wife. I wish you would. Fucking hell. Yeah, the adventures of being on the road. I mean, I remember when we way back when we were on tour with Exodus, and we found in a skip about 40 black and white magazines. The magazine was about 20 pages, and all that was in it were black and white pictures of Madonna nude. And exactly, we were like, well, this is a find. So anyway, put them on the merch table, didn't we? We made more money out of the Madonna Nuddy mag, the official Acid Rain Madonna Nuddy mag, than we did out of the fucking shirts.
Did you keep one?
I wish I had, mate. To be fair, I think most of those pictures are available online these days.
Oh, right.
But at the time, it was just like, what? You know, it's insane finding that kind of stuff lying around. So what was it? Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. It must. Lovely. That's a new background change on the Zoom from Jay, who is now got Steptoe and Son behind him.
Bit of more of a clue.
I don't know what are you asking me a question?
Hmm?
So what is it that I don't know?
Oh no, there's a link between the backgrounds.
All three.
Yeah.
So we've had Steptoe and we'd have Steptoe and Son, Napoleon, and
I think it was Nelson.
It's Nelson, that was.
Oh, sorry, Nelson. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And Han Solo, Frozen in Carbonite.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know Stan? Am I being thick?
I'll leave it with him. It's his gag.
Right. Okay. No, I don't know. Go on then. This better be fucking brilliant.
Well, they all begin with H.
Oh, you absolute bastard. Yeah. First and only time on the show, Jay there.
There we go. Back to the game.
Oh dear. I can't believe I didn't get that.
What can I? Come on, sharp up.
What can I say? Oh, Harry H. Corbett. Yeah, you see, I was going Steptoe and Son. Yeah. Okay. Oh, fucking hell! Right, it's so obvious now, isn't it? I wish he was on this. I wish he was on the Zoom with us.
Go on, ask us a question.
Well, I was going to.
What are the email questions coming in then?
Well, this is what I was going to say. We've got some really cool questions here. Unlike the questions you've had so far, let's get stuck in. So, this is from Alan Phillips. Alan says, saw Xentrix at KK Steel Mill earlier this year. Fuck me, they were good. Do the guys think the break did you good? Would something of the quality of 7 Words have been in the pipeline without that? Sorry to be cliche, but do people mistake Jay for Chris? And again, he says here, and lastly, thank you for the Slammer collab. Shame it only happened in Manchester. So a number of questions there, but first off, yeah, you know, did 7 Words benefit? You know, did lockdown benefit 7 Words, or you know, was that coming anyway?
Possibly could have done. I mean, it's impossible to know, isn't it? Really?
Yes.
Certainly. It was good to. It was good to just not have any sort of real distractions. You know, it was a good excuse to sit in my room and do. You know, just play my guitar. So, not that I really need an excuse to do that. If I want to do it, I'll do it. But yeah, it removed some of the other daily distractions. So maybe it did. You know, I'm just pleased that we managed to do something in that time. And you know, otherwise, you know, we'd be sat around like, you know, not doing anything. You know, so because you got to keep going, haven't you? You got to keep moving. Bands are like sharks, aren't they? If they stop, they die. You know?
Yes.
So,
yeah, no, very much so. And you're right. It's like it focuses the mind when you just got a few less distractions.
Yeah.
And you suddenly realize that you've got like, oh, hang on, I've actually got time because there's like,
that was the whole thing for me, was having time all of a sudden to spend a lot more time just doing what I want to do, because I got furloughed, which was good for me. The whole of that time was cool. I could just concentrate on this.
I was actually still working, but it was it just meant that, you know, the other stuff that sort of like distracts you, you know, going out, socializing, things like that.
Yeah,
it was none of that. So it was like, right, I can spend that time doing that. But yeah, I was still editing crap and doing things. So it didn't, you know, it wasn't in that. It wasn't like oodles of time to go and do it, but it definitely did help.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the other bit?
Well, the other bit was more kind of thanking you for the Slammer collab.
Oh yeah, and does people
yes,
do people mistake Jay for Chris? I actually think some people do.
They definitely will on this European tour.
Yeah, the other way around. Oh, he's had his haircut now.
Yeah, I fucking hell! I swear to God, people have got to go up to Chris and call him Jay. For fuck's sake!
Yeah,
I mean that's got to be the one goal of the whole tour, surely.
They're going to be saying, "Oh man, the new album's brilliant." You know, sounds better than the old albums. You know?
Yeah, Chris, your vocals sound better than ever before.
God damn.
Yeah. It's so it's going to be fun in that way. But yeah, I do think people do. You know, I think when we play abroad and people aren't like massive fans of the band and they just sort of like turn up a festival, I do think I don't think they mind as much as well. I think they go, oh, that's the guy from Xentrix, and people say, oh no, he's the new guy. Oh really? Yeah. You know, they don't care really. It's like
I've had
no real stuff.
I've had people telling me how we saw you in back in the day, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I smile and nod. And,
which is the correct reaction. Absolutely, no need to rob them of the joy by going.
Actually, you're mistaken.
Well, I mean, bearing in mind, I've got an entire lineup who get oh, saw you back in the day, or we saw you here, and it's very easy to go, well, not me, well, not us. And you don't think that's a big thing, and like you know, they wanted to distance themselves and go like, oh, you know, I don't want to take credit for work I didn't do. But after a while, it's like, no, just you know, just nod along and say thanks and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Sign the album.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
There is a thing when people come and say, oh, I've got like, you know, your first album, and they're saying to Chris and Shiza, like, you know, will you sign it? And they always look at me and I go, fucking sign it, man. You know, just do it. You're in the band. So, you know, just sign the record.
Well,
I felt like I was defacing it.
Yeah, my guys were defacing Old Acid Rain albums with drawing cocks and balls all over them. So
never Cookie doing cocks and balls, never.
So yeah, it's kind of odd, but you know, that's we're still going. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right. More questions from Jacob Porch this time. Awesome album, guys. Killer riffs, killer production, a perfect follow-up to Bury the Pain. You are all on top form, but Jay's vocal performance really stands out for me. What was I telling you? So I'm just curious as to see who wrote the lyrics.
He did.
Yeah, I had a lot more to do with the lyrics this time.
Great.
Yeah, I wrote one. So the first song we wrote, I wrote words with it. And then after that, Jay just was like, well, I've got words for this. I've got words. It was like, okay. So
yeah,
literally, I'm well happy with that. You know, it's like,
yeah, absolutely.
Fine, you know,
yeah, it's just organically, Jay has just taken that over.
Yeah. And that's great. Cause you know, the last thing I want to do is write bloody words. And it's, so, and I also, like we were saying before, I think it's better if the singer writes the words. I mean, you know, it's not always the case, is it? I mean, like, Steve Harris writes the words for Iron Maiden, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just think it's better, isn't it? You can interpret them better and put what feeling and emotion in them, can't you? Know what the angle is and everything. So that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, as a fellow vocalist, I completely agree. And I think as well, when every other song you're playing, they're not your words. It's important that when you get a chance to have your words, then you do.
Yeah. But even so, when we were putting the vocals down, tracking them, there's parts where it wasn't like completely me. It was like Stan would say, I don't think this works quite as well. Perhaps we should cut this, move this, or
yeah.
We were still both working on it together at that stage.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well,
that's just because I didn't want him to have any little victories. I just wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, too right. Yeah. You want him to realise that. Yeah, it's your vocals, but I'm still in charge.
Yeah.
I think they sound better for it. So
without a doubt. I mean, I'll always collaborate on vocals. It's like the last album, that was me and Jace, nobody from the band at all. It was just me, Jace, in the studio for 10 days on our own, completely uninterrupted, left to get on with it.
Right.
And everyone just got final songs. But whilst in there, he's suggesting loads of stuff. He's like, "Oh, go up there, or try down there," or and sometimes go, whatever it is. My answer is always yes, because I've come here with like X amount of ideas, but like you don't. They're not all going to be winners, and somebody else might have some good ideas. So you just try everything, see what it sounds like, see if it works. And also I think it helps kind of take the pressure off a little bit, because when you feel like you're collaborating, that's a little bit of weight off the shoulders. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you're working as a team.
It's someone to blame if nobody likes it.
Exactly. It's not all your fault, is it?
That's it. Yeah. You can say, "Oh yeah, which bit don't you like?" No, that was mine. No, I didn't do that.
Yeah, that was his idea.
Well, funnily enough, you've kind of answered the next part of the question, which was also, what is your process when writing the vocal / melody lines, as some of the word placement is excellent?
I drive a truck for a living, so I've got hours and hours and hours on my hands on the roads. So when Stan was sending me demos, I could just listen to them on rotation at work for days. And then I could hear vocal patterns from doing that, and then all I had to do then was make words fit the patterns. So I've generally got patterns before words.
I'm exactly the same, except the other way around. I've got words before melody lines.
I've got the vocal patterns in my head before any of the words each time.
I think that's probably something to do with you playing guitar as well. I think that there's probably a difference with you being like, actually playing an instrument. It's Ashley was the same. So, he would be thinking about sort of patterns and rhythms as opposed to like, when you're a singer, you're thinking more, well, I have to imagine you'd be thinking more like, how do these words fit in melodically, and how do they fit in other ways? Whereas predominantly thinking about rhythms and stuff because you're a player, possibly. I don't know. Maybe, but you probably not even thought that. But
no, that didn't cross my mind until then.
I think it's a good point though, because I think the way our minds work, it's like I'm more of a writer than a singer. So for me, it's more important that the words come first, and then that gives me something that I can then come up with melodies for.
Right.
Whereas you're just coming at it from the other way, but that's like, that's kind of like the
I always used to think about Sat with Sabbath with Martin. He was always a writer more than a singer. You know what I mean? He used to have some interesting rhythms and stuff. But tell with him, it was all about like, getting his storyline and his sort of pagan book rendition over. So those with those the lyrics and the the vocals were like, you know, they were like probably more secondary in a lot of ways, you know, than you guys or Sabbath or someone like that, you know, because they did a separate singer. I don't know. Maybe that's
yeah.
to that, you know. And it's just a different way of thinking about it, isn't it? Really.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine having to play an instrument as well as sing. I'm like, that does my fucking brain in. I'm you know, I'm just enjoying swinging from the lighting rig like a monkey. Do you know when I'm not singing? I mean, you know, the concept of being like working that hard on top of, man, honestly, nothing but fucking respect and admiration for you.
I struggle to get like the odd like, no, you know, like just shouty backing vocal, and I don't know how he does it either. It's like, and then trying to do a shouty backing vocal and press a pedal straight after it. It's like I just can't do it. It's like, it's weird. Yeah. No.
Just imagine you're shouting at one of your kids and then you're gonna open a bin. Yeah. So you just stop it, and then you're gonna open the bin and throw something in it.
I told you, if it's left on the floor, it's going in the bin.
yeah.
Whilst playing guitar.
Now there's a thrash metal backup vocal for you. I've told you before. If it's left on the floor, it's going in the bin. So Jay, I mean, you know, how did you find out you could do this? Because it's like, it sounds like to me, it's an insane thing to even try.
I used to do vocals and guitar in my first bands in the late 80s, early 90s, but I wasn't very good at it. So then, which is why I didn't pursue it. I didn't carry on. It was easier for me. I much preferred to just play rhythm guitar, because I can just get on with what I'm doing on the guitar and let someone else worry about remembering words and stuff. And to me, that's the best way for that. But the situation we had is, if we'd been, I don't know, 12 months, was it, Stan? We've been trying vocalists and nothing was happening. We'd had a few people in, and we were stalled. We couldn't do anything until we had someone in. And always in the back of my mind was, Xentrix has like 2 guitars and one of the guitar guys sings. That's Xentrix. The way it's always been for me. Yeah. So I knew that Stan wasn't up for doing that, so it was going to have to be me. So that was it. Stan then said one day, like, you can't happen to do it, can you? And I said, well, I'll try. So, and that's what I did. I came home and went through very slowly a few songs and tried to unlock what I could do back then, and I did. I went to rehearsal, did 4 songs. Stan was like, why didn't you say this 6 months ago?
Yeah.
So that's when we did a couple of demos then of just vocals on top of the material from the first album. Yeah. And Stan said, I think this is going to work. We'll try and re-record the vocals for the album. That was Bury the Pain, and take it from there.
And that's bringing you full circle to where you are now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man. And it's really worth going through that again as well, because like, as you were telling that story, I was kind of remembering like the times that I've met Stan and at what stage of frustration he was at, you know. Yeah. And you know, it's like, oh, fucking there now. And it's like, and it's bizarre actually, Stan, because of course we swapped roles, didn't we? Because I used to come and see you lot, and then I was trying to get a band together, and it was like, you know, it was going to be a reformation, then it wasn't, and it was just like, and we've both been like in similar situations at different times, and we all seem to bump into each other. There's always news. There's always like, you know, some drama going on because it's a band, you know. Mm-hmm. And as you were telling that story, it just started reminding me of when it came together and how it came together, because it's, you know, it's a good few years ago now. Yeah. And you know, it's a heartwarming tale, and I really mean that, because I know, you know, I've known Stan for years, and he's, you know, probably one of the people I know best in the music business, and to see him trying to get this thing together and being so close as well. You know, it's like fucking hell, so close. So to see it come together was just awesome, and you know, well done, boys. Well done. Congratulations on everything on the new album.
Thank you.
It's a definite progression. It's a definite, hey, this is this is the next iteration of Xentrix again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sort of 2.2 maybe instead of 2.0, or was it 2.2?
I think it was 2.0 was the Bloodstock one, we got told, didn't we?
What? I don't know. Well, it depends, doesn't it? Depends where you no, I suppose this will be 2.0 was with Simon and Andy Rudd, wasn't it?
Oh, bloody hell. Right. Okay. So which iteration of the software are we on now?
4 point something, I think. I don't know. Fucking hell, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is as well is that you're going to reject a load of updates and then go on tour, and then going to have to go download those updates again.
Downgrade. We're going back to Windows 97.
Fucking hell! I tell you what, if he sees this interview before you go out on tour, you might want to fucking watch yourself. You might not be going on tour.
No, sorry, he won't watch.
Oh dear! Look, thanks, guys. I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate you coming on. It's lovely to see you. Wish you all the best.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, H.
No worries.
Bye.
Bye.